Today we're looking at installing our Flappy pedal kit on our Mitsubishi FTO. You should have the wiring harness, paddles and carbon plate, plus some zip ties and longer bolts. On the back of the steering wheel you want to assemble the carbon fibre plate with the paddles so that the longer part is facing away, so you have some offset, able to get your fingers into the paddles. Installing the harness and getting the wires up to the steering column is the trickiest part, but it's relatively simple. You do need to remove quite a lot of the interior dash, including centre console, ashtray, the notorious centre console trim piece, because we're trying to get to this plug down here. First step is to remove the ashtray with the 2 bolts inside. Lift up the armrest, remove those bolts inside. This should then lift up and wiggle out backwards. The next step is to remove the trim around your auto gear selector, and then very, very carefully pop out the centre console trim piece. I find the easiest way to do it is to lift the 2 tabs at the back, then work my way forward on each side. To actually remove it from the gear stick, you will need your keys. In the ignition, and put the gear stick in drive. Centre console should then again wiggle and lift out. To remove the main part of the trim, there's 3 bolts which connect to here, 1, 2 and 3, and then the whole middle part should lift out. This gives you access to the gear selector plug. There is a little piece on the side you need to push in and pull out. Connect that straight into the jumper harness, and then plug the jumper harness into the gear selector, and it's as easy as that, no additional wiring required. You then need to run the wire on the jump harness all the way up to the steering column. This involves removing the lower part of the driver's side dash, and also your steering wheel, the trim around your boss. To remove the steering wheel trim, you'll need to drop the steering column. There's 1 bolt underneath. The top part is the easiest part to get it off. Lift that out. Remember to take your keys out with the car in park. The lower part should wiggle off and comes out around the bar that locks the steering column in place. So we're nearly there removing trim pieces. As I said, the last thing to do is remove the lower dash trim. There are a couple more Phillips screwdrivers up underneath that, which we can have a look at now. I've now got the lower dash out of the way. It's likely that you can lift it out, but you may need to undo the 2 screws which hold in the bottom catch. Otherwise, you can leave it loose down in the driver's footwell. Route the cable through the metal bracket, through the next lot of metal brackets, you might need to tuck it in and around where the blower is for the driver's side footwell. Now that's all routed, use 2 of the cable ties to tie it to existing wiring harnesses. The best place to do this is the steering column wiring harness, and then again right the way back near the top of the auto ECU. The next bit's really, really important. The curly cord is there so that we can turn the steering wheel and have the paddles in the right place. It needs to be held fastly to your steering wheel and somewhere that isn't going to move at the top of the steering column. You can run the cable through the bottom of the steering column trim. Making sure not to snag any wiring. The ideal place to do this is on the curly cord, not on the nylon sleeving. Okay, I'll repeat that. Please cable tie it on the curly cord, not the nylon sleeving. There is connections at the end of this wire, and it's better that it is cable tied on the curly cord up here. I've got a removable steering wheel, which is slightly different, which has holes in it, but the brackets now have holes either side down here, so it's your choice how you'd like to cable tie them. Another suggestion we have is if you cable tie it to the steering column adjustment at the end, again making sure that you secure it to the curly cord, not the nylon sleeving. It's really important that that is held still. When connecting up the wires at the end, the green wire is the up signal, so that usually is connected to the right hand paddle. It does not matter which way the paddle connection goes around. The other paddle is then connected to the other side. Again, it does not matter which way round that connector goes. Secure the curly cord to something on the steering wheel using the provided cable ties. Again, making sure that's nice and tight and the curly cord can't slip left and right. It's always a good idea to test things before you reassemble all the trim pieces. So do switch on the car and make sure you can see the one paddle making the car change up a gear and the other paddle making the car change down a gear. If they are the wrong way round, i.e. the left hand paddle is changing up and the right hand paddle is changing down, swap the connectors on the back to the other side. Any questions, you can always get hold of us on our business WhatsApp number, Facebook, or through our website.